This is Gerald, Johan van Was. In this video I will explain you how letters not just are orientations in space that we try to focus upon something that we can recognize, the object, the objective of our focus as quickly as possible. Sometimes, and more often, in 1/3 of the letters as well, timings are involved. And it's a bit more difficult to have them involved and have the expressions well formed, well understood, and so on. And I will give you some examples in this one. But first I need to reintroduce the scope of focuses that are a foundation for our orientations in time and space, for our letters that we use in words. And the foundation, the very foundation of our focus is already defined somewhat in the three first letters, the A, the T and the K, which are basically one-dimensional points in space that we use to orientate ourselves in. And these points, they are a focus in the middle or the center of a center point of focus, are in the vertical direction a bit away from the center, or in a diagonal center, really a bit out of balance already as the K. Now these 3 points seems to be very steady points of reference. And our mathematics as well, they use also the 3 angles of coordination in 3 dimensions, and they also start from a point of reference in the middle that is very much that we can compare it to the letter A. From there that we start, and from where A will follow the horizontal plane further, but the starting point is a point of definition, of a pinpointing place that we try to find in space and try to use also as our definition of the number 1. We use this as our very foundation. But there we have a problem in language as well. The mathematics and the way we orientate ourselves cannot continue to measure everything from this point of reference of this triangular orientation in space with 3 coordinates. We can't use it for a 4th dimension, for a 5th or 6th, or for other orientations. It's not usable. We can't even use it in the way of thinking of adding simply time there. It will not work very well. But there are tricks for that to make it work, and I will explain you why it doesn't work and how it should work. Now the problem is that the division in space of points in space are not exact signs, are not exact points, but they are a tendency to look for exact points. They are a certain division only from a kind of estimation. So we think to see and to measure everything with clarity, and the 3-dimensional space, how we also use it in mathematics, is also based upon this foundation that it should be clear. We look for clarity, and this clarity is built around the number 1. The problem with our vision and division and looking towards reality is that it is not always exact science. So it is an estimation. The A is not even 1, it's looking for 1, it's looking for a range in which the 1 can be defined. So that's the spatial range of our orientation. The T is the first letter which defines the number 1. It's exactly number 1. It says I can measure it. I'm sure I can use it as a measurement. I can use it from there. And the K defines the limits until where you can use it. So also there, it's more like this vibration. You have somewhat the 1 there as a description with 3 variations. That is less than 1 in A, 1 in T, and more than 1 already in K. So it is. So we use A to have a range of certainty. We have T as a measurable certainty. Everything which we can measure is then defined by T. And we have a certain limit to our certainty, which is defined by K. And if we go to the next level, the next couple of letters, with the number 2 then as well, we have already logically not just 1 dimension, we have 2 dimensions on the same plane with the same 3 references starting from A. The U is a point in space which is a bit further away, and it will be defined in this within this 2-dimensional range of vision. So my idea is a bit widened already. I can build up a 3-dimensional foundation, but this foundation will be built up on this 1-dimensional foundation in A. The problem is, and that is also about the reality, because we don't use the center points of A that we have everywhere. If there is a different starting point, if we would use the point a bit further in space as another starting point, its rhythms will be different, its context will be different, it will be off, it will not be a match in space and time. When it's involved in time, it will be off, because it will use different rhythms, it will use the rhythms differently, it will also create a different context in the end. So when I have an opinion in a certain center point and someone else has an opinion in a different center point, these center points will be off, not in space, because you're just 2 meters from me, but in the timings. And you see the things already differently. You will time them differently. And even if you try to use the same time frame, it will, by describing things, you will describe them differently and they will be off. So you have the end in the reality of that's how we use language. We have not just points in space, we are talking about opinions, starting points, different starting points, and we try to find a match. And with A, my opinion, and you, your opinion, you see that they are off. They are they will create a different timing, they will create a different context very logically. And when I start to think in my language, in my using words and so on, I follow the letter A, and I will follow the timings of the letter A. And when I follow you, I will also use my timings, and it doesn't matter in the beginning, because there are so many matches, and it's clear, it's not too far from me. I start with it, and it was within my scope, but at the end it will take a while. After a while you will see that this you viewpoint or starting point is different, and at the end you will more and more, when the time goes by, also in talking, you will see that the difference will become at certain point so large that you have to make adaptations, and you have to make adaptations on its way already, but they are always close by most of the time. You see, the U has a different rhythm, and in the end, the timing, you will only notice after a while that the timing will be off. So you can use both starting points within that space. You don't even need time, but in the background, you will have to realize at some point things will be off. So what you see and what you understand is different than what I see and I understand, and my scopes are even different. There will be matches, of course. These matches, I will describe them as A and U. We have an A zone, that is my opinion. You have U zone, your opinion. But in between the frequencies match, we have a confrontational zone, which I call, of course, the ow zone, the painful zone, let's say, where our rhythms interact, and we have to adapt, of course. This is where we communicate, of course. If you would simply look at every angle and every opinion and everything that someone else associates, it will be difficult to find always the matches. There will be times when the frequencies match well, and other times where they won't match well, and it's difficult to find a match. That's not what we will look for in the first place. Of course, we start from our vision and we follow that one. So from the spatial view, which is our starting point, our objective, our first objective, there will be irregularity, and this irregularity is hard to measure. It's irregular. You can't say like, okay, here it is off, it's so much off, it will not be possible from that spatial point of view, and it doesn't have to be. You see, it's close enough, we can understand it. So instead, of course, we will keep up with the spatial frame and the spatial values, and we try to focus on, here's the thing, and here's the thing. It's a bit off, but okay, it's still the thing. So we still have the points in space and follow the points in space also for the U, L, and B, the next ones. But you see, sometimes the waves are a bit further away, sometimes they are a bit closer by. We don't care, we don't mind, we still understand the other. In better and worse times, we try to keep up, and try to notice where everything is. But of course, in a way, for us, U is not a different point with a different vision that is equal to us. No, we will start from our vision, and the U will be the incomplete vision for us. For the other, we will not understand each other perfectly. It will also be less, so it will not be an equal. There is something that is in development for us that we are trying to understand. Some of it we understand, some of it we will not. So U in the vision of letters is then something for ourselves, because we start from ourselves in space, is something which is in development and which is incomplete. And they are, of course, in our communication, the red zones where it's farther away, and smaller red zones where the difference are less, and the cooperative moments where the rhythms match very well, and that's of course the A plus U together, as AU can also be used for the cooperative moments when they really match well. But we try to keep our logic with the A first, and then keep up with the changes U. And then we have still a kind of balanced approach to come into balance, and I move towards U from A, from me, from my vision. The U, as you can see, the different points, you have the first scheme is most clear, that's the position of A, and you have the position of U, and we follow the position of A. We stretch our A vision and we see, okay, I can still include it. I can still include it in my perspective, and okay, I can follow it, so it's okay. It's within the limits of my understanding. Even if it would have different timings and rhythms, I don't care at this moment. I can follow it. I will do that. So where A was a certain scope of what I understand, just the range of what I understand, the T was the point that I say, okay, here it has a certain range and it also exists, I can use it and so on. On the next level, out of U, you have the L. It is also off focus. It's off focus in form. And you see, it's still within the scope that I can still use it, but you see the forms will be off. So the forms will form already different forms with the L. With the L you will find shapes that will be off. It will not be a direct form or a regular form. The forms will become irregular and can become irregular, but can they form its own way? They can follow its own directions and so on. In the end, it will have also an off form, but I can grasp it and I can use it, and that's how I will approach the L. The same for the B, the next, after ATK we have U, L and B, the next level then came to the letter B, compared to the previous level K. It's also at the edges, it's my edges, and the B is also still at my edges, and I can say, okay, it's at the edges of not just me, but also of you, and I can still grasp it, I can still follow it. It's something that is that I can still grasp in space. But the reality is, of course, that both focuses will have a different rhythm already there. Underneath, still close by, but it will still be usable, measurable within that same space. So it doesn't really matter, but that's something we need to understand by focusing on something that is already different. And how can we measure these differences better? Because here we see it from space and it is already a bit off. Can we measure them better? Yes, we can. Let's focus a bit on the differences. The best way to focus on the differences is, simply to see like, okay, this is a bit off. To where is it off? And to follow to where it will move to somewhere else at a certain point is already a different way of thinking, because it is, you see, okay, it's moving away. I can see that it's moving away. Let's follow that a little bit. From that moment on, you will also include not just space, but also movement in time, and movement to changes and so on, to dependency on these frequencies and so on. So we come to time. Time is actually it's kind of an invention from the dimensions when it doesn't find its place immediately. It has a trick that it can delay it. So it is also a delay. I don't have it immediately, but within a certain rhythm, within a certain context, within a certain conditions, at a certain point, it will find the next step. Thanks to time, it moves a little bit differently, but we will come to that. Thanks to following it up via the fourth dimension, time. Before we do that, the last option there in space was already sensing that you had an off vision there, that you had off positions, but these off positions had a different behavior already. When you sense that there is a different behavior, we're still in the beginning, you still try to focus on where am I and how can I adapt that I keep my focus on the middle, on the other side, on the edges. I want to keep my focuses. It's behaving already, underlying with different time frames, with creating different contexts, but I keep my focus intact in a kind of balance. These are C, M, and X. They are the central focus, keeping it intact, unless that it has variations. With the M as well, unless that it has variations, I keep my focus intact. So I keep my, it's written down. The C basically is my focus of how can I keep an order from my center despite differences that I already noticed. How can I keep an order from my formations with M despite that I already see it's moving in different directions? How can I keep an order in general in everything which is changing? That's the X. And there will be a trick yeah, you need a lot of attention actually with C, M, and X. It's demanding a lot of attention, always adapting back to keep your balance. But actually, I have a certain rhythm, you have a certain rhythm. Why not just see where the things are going? The things, where you are going, so that I can still follow it. So because now we have two rhythms and it's constantly trying to get the balance back to the common rhythm, timed rhythm. Why not just use the timed rhythm constantly, so that I can keep my focus constantly? And that's the next level. That's where I will focus on the timings, so that I see, okay, here it is moving to somewhere else. Where is it going? When is it going? It is a different way of thinking than, okay, I try to keep my steady place. It's no longer necessary. Just see where things are changing, when things are changing. That's a different focus, the timing focus, and that's where we're going to talk about it today. As you know, I have my own rhythm. That's my A rhythm there. The other person has its own rhythm. That's a larger rhythm that you can see there, which I follow in C, M, and X. But if I just follow a common rhythm, that's the A, then thanks to this common rhythm, I can use the timings to see where the matches are between your rhythm and my rhythm. Because from the spatial view alone, it's difficult and very impractical to keep the balance all the time. It will not be possible, so I'll have to focus on timing. Time E is about timing, and here you have the word measure already more or less explained. So you have the A, it's the timing. What I'm doing already is measuring how and when the two rhythms match, so that I have my A, my vision, the E, so difficult in English that they express A as A and E as E, but I have to do with English, nothing to do, but so I will, from now on, I will just say A and E, and you know that A is my vision, E is timing. So if I want to match my vision with the timing, I get to the letter E, A. And here, and that's what you use, of course, in measuring, because then you have, what are you going to measure? You're going to measure what you understand to what is focused upon in timing. You look for that kind of cooperation, which can only be found after a while with some delay in time, only at the right moment and match. That's the measuring. Try to find these matches, not the chaos of trying to find balance all the time in space. Now this is measuring the differences in the rhythms and so on, and so we also are focusing upon time. What kind of forms do we have? I already had that in last videos. The of course, because we have time, it is also has time to develop. The focus of the two-dimensional frame of what you have there, it doesn't stay just within one square. It can be stretched, of course, because it also can develop over time. There we have these lengths very easily in forms. Just a small reminder. In measure, I also have the letter S, of course. What's the letter S? S is always the big context. Where will we have the big context in measure? Of course, when we can find when it is cooperating, when the two vibrations find a match, where they are vibrating together. That's the S, where there is a contextual range in which the R, of course, combines. The U is incomplete, the R combines them, and the E is that I can use them within one time. That's the measure. Not going to go too deep into that word, but you have already some references that you can start from there. The letter sound E. It's not just about squares or lengthening, it's within that scope of timing. You will have different vibrations and you can follow them, and so they will be higher or lower at certain points. You will hear them, you can follow them up via the letter E. That's the association that you have there. An association with the word here. The H is the space in which the vibrations work, where the cooperations, the frequencies of E cooperate. That's the frame, and the R is the interaction and that you have there. So if you have here with E and A written, A is my vision, that's the black waves. The red ones are the other waves in with its own rhythm. So you have two rhythms, E, with just one A as a leading focus of what I understand, and the R are the connection points in between. That's where I hear the variations in space. Very quickly, how you can understand the word. The letter, here of course it's actually also with the letter E, and the E is always a higher frequency, so we hear the differences. That's another focus on the differences, the peak moments and so on. The E itself is the different frequencies. The A is my leading logic, my distinction that I use from A. That's how you have to understand the letters. They are a focus of understanding all these vowels, understand the things, focus on these things differently. And whereas the O, then the next vowel, O is up in time, So because we have, it's about letters that are related with the time frame. E is the horizontal and O is the vertical. So what is the association with O then? When it's the time, it's about timing and it's about the vertical direction. It's of course, if it's a vertical point in time, it's just a moment. So it's about the moment already in time that we are focusing upon. And there can be different moments, so you have different moments in time, while E is the full scope of the full timing. So you have, of course, with O, if you would use O randomly, you have moments, you can take out moments, so you will have incomplete pictures. One moment the things will look like that, the other moment it will look differently. With the letter E, you will have the full range, like a range. You have the full range in what with all its qualities and so on, and its variations. The O just a small reminder also. So if I take out the O, I want to know the scope. So it's just a moment, but what will I connect from O? It's always from one point, and if I enlarge it, and it still has to be from one point, but the connections can go larger. The only way to enlarge something from a point is, of course, a circle. There's no other way. So that's why O is even easily associated with circle. It's even associated with the 0 point with zeros very easily. It also has the form of the 0, while the A is the number 1. In the size of the vibrations, the vibration is the vibration of 1 is this estimation. So it's only 1 in the middle with the letter T, and it's less than 1 when we start with the A, and it's also less. It's getting already larger or something different with K. So it's also off the number 1 with K. So you need some space which is not, there is some range which is not to define the vibration of the wave. The vibration of the wave is not just defined by 1, but also by what is the 0, and by knowing the 0, you know also how wide the space is for this vibration. It's a bit difficult idea, but that's how I see it. And of course, if you use different moments, let's say also even randomly, I say, okay, I see this peak, I see this lesser peak, and so on. There are different moments, and you can also see you have different context. You see the combinations of the two waves differently. You notice different things in different at different moments. The AO, of course, that's another combination that I quickly here make. You have the A is this let's say it's the length of the wave. The O is then could define a bit the height of the wave, and then the range in which I will use my scope. AO will be used to define that kind of combination. Just look up for some words and you will understand it then better already. But let's go to the last word, moment, which I'll explain twice to be sure that you understand it. Moment. Now we go a bit deeper into that word. How do we build up that word of moment in a time frame so that we can understand the time frame from the letters alone? The M is not in the time frame. You have as a part of the scheme. A part of the scheme, there are 9 letters in the spatial orientation, A, T, K, U, L, B, C, M, X. The M is at the 3rd level, so it's at the edges, so that's where it's involved. It's at the 2nd place where you have the vertical orientation, and it also has the number 3. So it's a spatial orientation with the number 3 in the vertical. At this point it's abstract, but if I explain it where it comes from, where you have the M, where the M comes 4th, it will be more easy. We have here these 2 kinds of ways. There's 2 differences. So A is just 1, my vision. U is 2 visions. The next level, the C, is not about 3 visions, but it's about looking for a balance between these 2 visions. We are at the edges, so we have 2 waves, and we sense that at the edges there's a friction somewhat. They aren't really behaving together perfectly. So my balance is a bit lower, the other one is a bit higher, and I try to keep balance with 3 focuses: the focus of me and my range, and the focus of the other where it is at that range. And this trying to keep a focus and a balance, that's the letter M. It's always focusing at the edges in space to see, okay, I try to keep a focus. So my M goes to, it is going towards the other, it is communicating towards the other, but it's doing that from my position first, with a certain stretching. I can stretch my vision a bit, that I can still focus from my range where it is. So you see here the M. It's that range at the border of the two waves. That's the M. That's the M. So that you can understand already. And the O's, of course, will take out the moment. So which moment will be taken out? I have here the O already, as you see in the middle. What can be taken out? Of course, what is taken out? We have to start from O. What is actually taken out as a difference in M? I send something in M. And what can I take out in height, in the timing? What is off in timing? Of course, you have a certain, you have my wave, you have a different wave. It's a bit higher, and that's the O. I focus on that point. And this, of course, moment. So I compare here these two M's with the O. You have here the moment, the E. It gives you an advantage that you actually say it's from M to M with a range. So you have in between, it takes a while to go from one moment, it is actually again the moment, to the next moment where I can sense the balance or disbalance. There are just two moments that are mostly where the peaks are sensed. As you can see, there are just two moments, and the A is that range. It takes that time. It takes so much time to go from that one moment to the other moment, and that's the first sensitivity from M. You try to sense to keep a balance. You try to keep a balance, and you see there's a difference. You see the difference. It takes a while before this difference comes again. So you have momentje, that's what we say. Moment. That's what the range is. What we are focusing upon. We have this balance, but in a time frame. So we have this moment. What is the N then? The N, if I look at it in the scheme, it's in the second scheme where you have timings. So it is about timings. The first category is also about placements and center placement. So I try to have a center focus, a new center focus in time, and it depends on timing. It depends on what I take out at the moment. So that's what I also will use the N. The N will take out a certain moment. Of course, there are here still two moments. And then the T at the end will be the focus again on the objective space or what I can use. We will know, and we'll already realize more and more that these moments of notice that are useful are these peak moments, the differences in peak moments. That's the moment. I thought beforehand, moments, all these things are moments. I can use all these things as moments, but it's actually, if you follow all the letters, no, they are just, they are, when you really see at all the difference, there's only a combined moment that we need to take out. And that's because we are talking about communication. We are talking about communication between two people, two opinions. It's my opinion, the A, the number one here, the A, the blue starting point. Your opinion, the U with the green part, in which we're trying to focus within one range of a combined rhythm from 1 to 1. This we will focus out the moments that we understand each other. That's where the communication is meant for. That's where the timings are meant for, to find the matches. So you are going to find the matches between my rhythm, which basically is a rhythm of 3, and your rhythm, which here basically is presented as a rhythm of 2. And how many moments will I have as notice? Will I have 3 moments of notice plus 2? No, there will be the notices of the differences in communication of where is the difference between me and you. And there are only actually 2 peak moments So only 2 moments to notice. So that's where we already see O, E, U, I. Yeah, okay. That there are these 2 moments as a starting point for our focus. It's not finished yet. Let's go back, build it up once more that you really understand it. So the M, what is the M doing? So we know where we more or less have to end in these T moments. He's taking out moments, these peaks. These probably will be my moment. Let's see. The M, we started from the M. So we want to keep balance in all the differences that we notice at the edges there. We try to keep a balance of focus. That's the M. I also present that there in the middle. There are 2 M's. And so we will, of course, have also these moments will be built up from there. So what will be our main focus? Of course, the differences between A and B, which we will try to match in the M's. How do we do that? With O, so we take out the moment of difference, the O, moments of difference. The O is upwards towards the moment in time. So we have them. It's of course, where's the difference between my peak and your peak? It's that your peak, of course. There's 2 times these peaks of the other that come to notice. And then the range from that one peak to the other, then we can actually find out its rhythm. We can find out its rhythm. And thanks to finding out that full rhythm, that full time frame, which we couldn't do in M alone because that was just looking for balance. Here we focus on the timing, and in the timing we want to focus on the thing in one vision, in one blink of the eye. We want to have the moment. So here we have our related closer. The N, what is the N? The N will take out as a placement, because we're going to place something. It's something new, a placement in time. We have a placement in time. The N is, there are 3 measurements in time: horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Here it is about the vertical vision. So I take out something in the vertical in a different timing. So I will take a different center point of vision in my timing with N. So I can take out something independently also. But I will take care that I respect all the letters that came before. So I had me already. So this me were this balance in a certain time frame. So I will pick out this a rhythm of my own that I say here is the rhythm. Actually, it is already analyzing what we have. I have a timing between in this balance, but now I find where this balance can be notified in the N. And the T at the end, the T is about my objective. That's the real number 1. I have a new number 1. I have my neutral focus of, I have found my neutral focus of what I can take out. And what it's actually defining because of this, it's this combined, I found the rhythm of the other. I have the moment where I notice it. There are actually 2 moments of peak moments that are involved, and they involve the facing the moment, the correct moment that I see here within this moment. It matches and it works, and that's where it's become useful. So the word moment is much more deeply significant than just describing the letters and its possibilities. I thought beforehand that moment could be all the moments, could be all the random moments, even could be even stupid moments that I have nothing to say. As you can see, the O alone, you can have the O everywhere at each moment in time. You can take out all the momentual associations in O without any problem, and you focus on all these trivial confrontations with O also. You have these confrontations, and you can also take them out. Then you will have different words. But with moment, our attention is much more focusing on a direction that we need. We want a match with every word. We want a match. With the moment, it will not be a random moment. You can see it described. This moment works in communication. The second category of letters is also about communication in timing, and you get to the timing that you want, so that you have the match that you can see in timing, like in this word moment. So then you create a specific balanced focus in which we can understand each other, so that the word moment, when we follow it, it's a thought frame alone, it's thought frame of the word with a capital. It also will become a moment where we reach each other and will overcome our differences. And that's how words with a capital work. You see here at this point in T, and this cross point where all the balance of 3 and more is completely focused into this word, so that it will work in the end, and that you can use it as an inspiration that goes much deeper than an orientation in time and space. This orientation in time and space is also a reference to make the match also possible. And that means that words are could even inspire deeper than just in a rational way. They also communicate our senses that we will focus on these things specifically, so that we understand each other, so that we will reach each other, so that we will communicate and solve things. Anyhow, I hope that was enjoyable. There is not just a website, as you can see here. I always forget to say that there's also a Facebook group where I post the new videos, and you know when they are up, or also other interesting ideas around vowels and consonants. I also will publish them. Okay, it was a long video, but I think it was an interesting angle to focus a little bit more on the timings instead of just the forms, which were the basics of our focus in sound in form. There are 3 books about that. The one on top is the volume 1 and 2. They are separated as well, with a few extra examples in these separate books. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment if you like. Thanks again, and bye-bye.